Welcome to the Business of Ours podcast. We invite app industry professionals to cover various topics, and we promise to do our best to keep it both insightful and brief. In this episode, we have Andy Willers, co-founder at Favoured. Andy, welcome to the Business of Ours podcast.
Thanks for having me. Really excited to be here.
Terrific. Thank you for coming, Andy. All right. We're going to move forward with setting the stage first. AI is reshaping the way brands create and test ads, and mobile marketing is at the forefront of this revolution. With AI-generated UGC, aka user-generated content, creative testing at scale is no longer a challenge. It's an opportunity. Today I'm joined by Andy to explore how their partnership with HeyGen is unlocking new possibilities for mobile advertisers. How is AI changing the game? And what does it mean for the future of creative? Let's find out. Andy, before we dive into today's topic, can you tell me a bit about your tech background?
I'm a self-taught tech geek, basically. I did music at university, so I didn't specifically grow up with a kind of tech background, but as I got into the marketing space and as I sort of shaped my career, it was always something that I was hugely interested in. And now, actually running an agency, it's becoming more and more important to keep up to date with all things tech, whether that's AI or advances in the ad platforms or whatever it might be. So yeah, not a trained technical background, but certainly a keen interest in it. And it's become highly important in everything we do.
Yeah, this is great. So, Apple loves it. Intersection of art and technology. This is a great combination.
Yeah, I think that's what we've sort of tried to do at Favoured. It's art and science. It's about how creative can you be whilst leveraging all of the the technological elements that you can to ensure that you're driving good data, good decision making, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's been really important in our growth for sure.
I love this combination. Now, let's introduce Favoured. What do you guys do?
So we are an app specialist performance marketing agency. So essentially we run and manage campaigns, generally user acquisition campaigns, specifically on any apps or platforms that people are running. And I think our point of difference is we look after the entire customer journey. So, it's not just about the install. It's about how we can nurture those users, how we can drive better retention, reduce churn, and make sure they stick around because, the install is just the first part of the puzzle. So we do that by having a multifaceted team that look after not only ads and acquisition and creative to support that, but then also looks at the post-install actions. So how do people engage with your app? How do we use customized messaging and automations to retain them? And essentially, how can we drive better retention and revenue for our app clients?
This is a great approach. So you're following your customers all the way, helping in every respect of the app marketing journey. Okay, now my first question is, what specific challenges did you face with creative testing before integrating AI-generated UGC? And how has HeyGen helped overcome them?
Yeah. So, we produce a lot of creative for our campaigns, and up till recently, we did it the traditional way. We've got quite a large creative team that encompasses designers, video editors, UGC content creators, and to facilitate creative testing, they were grinding away, producing content, testing different hooks and executions, and a lot of that was briefed in based on data via the media buyers and all that kind of stuff. I mean, one of the things we always struggled with was ensuring that we have enough volume of creative to adequately test and optimize our campaigns with creative optimization. And making sure that we could test all the available hooks and routes took time. So it would be recording UGC scripts or creating different ad variants through static design, all that kind of stuff. What AI has allowed us to do, particularly on the UGC side, which I think has been a really interesting development, is enable our internal creative team to leverage the tools to massively increase their capability to do creative testing. It was always interesting when that AI sort of came up. It's like originally thought they'd never replace creatives, or creative would be the last bastion of of sort of AI encroachment, but actually it seems like it's been one of the things that it's excelled at, and particularly what we've been testing out with HeyGen, who approached us to be one of their agency partners, is that it's very good at replicating user-generated content. And the whole point about user-generated content is it feels human, it feels real, it feels engaging and genuine. But what we've been able to do is leverage a platform like HeyGen and the sort of digital avatars that they create and test multiple UGC scripts or executions very, very quickly. Essentially, we can get the avatars saying what we want, when we want, and how we want it. And then when we mix that with B-roll and sort of different executions of video editing around it, we can turn it into high-performing content. The thing that I found interestingly is that there still requires a human element. We're not at the place where you can type in a prompt and AI will spit out a perfect execution, but we're at a stage where it's how effectively you can connect the dots. With HeyGen, it spits out fantastic AI avatars, and we can get them to say what we want when we want, but it still requires a good edit to leverage the power of what they can do there. A good editor is still an essential tool in that mix. And what we've been finding is we've been combining the HeyGen output with some other platforms like Kling or Runway or other video and image generation platforms. And actually, with the combination of tools and the human touch, you can create high performing content very, very quickly without the need to be briefing in content creators and going back and doing script refinements and all that kind of stuff. So it's really been quite an interesting journey and a bit of a game changer. I don't use that word lightly, but a bit of a game changer for us, for sure.
So speed, improvement in efficiency, and you actually addressed kind of my background question, which was in my mind when I was asking my question. What about the authenticity of the creatives? Are they real? Do you have this uncanny valley feeling when you look at them? But you're saying absolutely not. They're real, authentic and good, right?
Yeah, HeyGen's taken an interesting approach. So they have kind of two versions of what you can do on the platform to create avatars. One is fully AI generated, and I still think we're in that kind of uncanny valley a bit for that pure AI generated, completely artificial person. But their other approach has been quite effective for us, which is they have basically pre-recordings of real people who've granted them their likeness and all that kind of stuff, and actually they've recorded them for 5-10 minutes, whatever, and they use a process of voice generation and then mouth replacement to make it look highly realistic. And for us, that has been working particularly well. They've got, maybe 15, 20 different kind of avatars you can choose on that realistic route. And they're adding more all the time, which is great for us. And then the kind of little secret sauce that we do is we take screenshots of those people and load them into image generators and video generators like I mentioned earlier, Runway and Kling and stuff. And then we can get those people doing additional elements to make it look like the avatar is actually interacting with the B-roll as well. So I think, like I say, it's those extra touches that make it feel authentic, along with good editing, basically.
And that's a smart approach. I see how it works. Now, can you share a concrete example of how AI UGC has impacted a campaign, whether through performance improvements, cost savings, or efficiency gains?
Yeah, I mean, we've been testing it quite extensively on a few of our clients, one of which has just launched in a new territory. And particularly with a different geographical launch, it's been important for us to test what has worked in previous locations, but then also come up with some new tests that might be out of the box and resonate better with the audiences in that particular target market. So for that particular launch, it was really interesting being able to test not only rapid iteration of hooks and script refinements and all that kind of stuff, but then also because it was a different literal language location, it did resonate with English language creatives, but we wanted to test it in the native language of the targeted country as well. And actually, what AI allowed us to do was translate those scripts, get them voiced, naturally sounding by AI and deliver the same creative but in the native language. And that was really, really interesting for us. So that saved us not only time but efficiency. It allowed us to unlock new creative testing that would have been fairly complex to achieve previously in finding, native language content creators and all that kind of stuff. And actually, it allowed us to reduce the cost per install through the rapid creative testing in that new target market. So it kind of delivered on all levels, which is fantastic. I think it's again part of the process, and it's one of the toolkits in our arsenal. So I'm not saying that we'll exclusively use AI creative, but what it does is allowed us to rapidly iterate creative tests, and then we can take the high performing ones and use the data that's given us to then deliver extra variations with real content creators. Like, what I really like about it is it allows us to test 10 different scripts. We get the data on it, we find the one that's working, and then we use that as the basis for an influencer engagement or a content creator that delivers real human delivery. So I think it has delivered, and I think if people aren't trying it already, they should be open to it, because it's a fascinating way to iterate your creative testing approach.
This is awesome. This is great example. Translation to other languages has always been a problem. We'll remember how the evolution of Google Translate, where it began, how it evolved, and to this day, if you compare what AI can do and Google Translate can do, AI always beats in the final product. And when you have this tool just in hand for your team, this is awesome. You can try. I don't know. It's like all basic languages. You're not trying to. I don't know. What will be Latin or some other dead language which is not available. Otherwise, you're good to go.
Yeah.
You're not trying to, I don't know, impress somebody in the ancient Rome. You're trying to sell your product in the current Rome these days. So yeah, Italian will not be a problem.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's not just the translation that's got really good. We use 11 Labs for a lot of our voice generation, and the delivery of foreign language scripts has got really realistic in the voice generation. It's not just tailored to English markets anymore. It can deliver realistic script deliveries in plenty of languages.
Yeah, this is just mind-boggling. Fanatically accurate translation, just like native speaker would be talking to you in that language.
Yeah.
This is terrific. Now, as AI-generated content becomes more advanced, where do you see the biggest opportunities and risks for brands looking to scale their effective testing efforts?
I think there's a few. It's the rise of AI. I've been shocked actually how quick everything has been improved. It's like, if you don't look at it a month later, things will have advanced what previously would have happened in a year. It's kind of like the pace of change and optimization and addition of new functionality and tools is crazy. So actually that presents both opportunities and risks. If you keep your finger on the pulse and you keep aware of the advancements that are being made, you actually have the opportunity to utilize them quickly and early and have first mover advantage. But if you don't keep up to date with it, actually you can get left behind quite quickly and not be aware of how the landscape is changing. So I think being on the pulse with it, having your finger on the button of what's going on is going to be really important. But then when it comes to brands, I think there's opportunities and risks in many areas. Obviously, the opportunity, like I mentioned, is improved testing, improved creative iterations, translations, reduction of cost in not having to employ loads and loads of content creators. All that kind of stuff is great. But what's not particularly clear at the moment, and maybe this is just because people aren't aware of how advanced AI video generation is, I don't know if a lot of the people watching some of the ads that we're making actually are even aware it's an AI avatar. With good editing and stuff, loads of them look just like a real person delivering it. And I think at the moment we've got the first mover opportunity of people not being aware how advanced AI has got, so they're not aware that an ad is AI. And that's great because they just don't question its authenticity. But I think as we get deeper and deeper into AI, I imagine consumers' response to the use of AI may shift. They may question more authenticity elements. They may think about how creative appeals to them as a human. And I think eventually, well, God knows, I'm a creative by trade. Maybe there will be AI fatigue at some point. So I think it's about making sure that you're aware of how the use of AI is taken into account with your target audience. And if you're an app or a platform that's highly into the creative industries, you're probably going to get a much more frosty reception than an app that's into fitness or something. I don't know. It might depend on the target market and their reception of it. But I think it's definitely something brands have to take into account, and also take into account when producing different types of creative. For ads, maybe it's good, but maybe true branded content or organic social, it needs to be more authentic, and you're only going to get that with a human touch. So it's interesting. I think it's to be decided, and will change very rapidly based on, as we've seen the last even 3-4 months, the pace of advance.
Yeah, I totally see what you mean by this perception of the general public of AI. We may be looking at the moment kind of we all remember that conversation should be vanilla recording. Digital will not deliver the same quality. It will be soulless. It will be dead. It should be live. It should be, created only on this medium. So we may reach the point where the perception will be the same. Are you watching the ad performed by a real human being, or is it AI? What should I feel about it? Should I feel anything about AI at all? So yeah, it's an open question. I totally see what you mean.
And I think it'll be interesting to see, particularly with true creatives, how people embrace AI as a creative tool. Like at the moment, it can do fantastic things with image generation and making, but it's only trained on the breadth of human output so far. So can it truly be creative? I don't know. Maybe it's going to evolve into a tool that creative people can use and make their skills even more incredible, and we'll find new ways of expressing our innermost human creativity with the use of AI just as another toolkit in our arsenal. It'll be really interesting to watch over the next decade, probably.
Absolutely. Yeah, it will be fascinating to watch. Okay, Andy, we've covered the topic on the table today. I hope people learned a lot from what we just covered. And since it's your first time on the Business of iOS podcast, you get to answer a quick set of questions, which I ask every newcomer, just so we can know you a little bit better.
All right.
Here we go. So, what smartphone do you have now? Have you been switching back and forth between iOS and Android, or staying one side all the time?
I am currently on a Google Pixel 9. And I've been Android the whole time. I've actually never had an iPhone. It seems mad. I'm a Mac user, but an Android phone guy. I just always have been that way. And I probably will stay that way until the day I die.
Well, that's an interesting combination right there.
Yeah.
Okay, let's jump back in time. What was your first mobile phone?
I had the classic Nokia 3310. Oh, yeah, 3310, I think it was. And then after that, I had the 8210, which was the slightly smaller one. Man, I loved that phone. Great. It was indestructible, Snake. It had all of the great stuff on it.
Good memories for sure. Okay, back to present. So imagine you've left your smartphone at home, you're out. What would be the most missing feature for you at that point?
To my detriment, I'm a WhatsApp junkie. It seems to be my most opened app. We use it a lot for work. I use it with my family, my friends. So I'd feel like I'd be missing out on the WhatsApp chat if I didn't have it with me. I'm not a big social media user, so that doesn't worry me too much. But WhatsApp would feel like I'm missing something from my pocket.
Good for you. I'm not a big fan of social media either. Okay. Now, when you're looking at your smartphone right now, and go like, would be great if that thing can do this or that. Some missing feature could be hardware, software, or both. Not necessarily some trendy stuff, perhaps something that you're thinking about, and this is not one of the things that is on the radar for the tech media.
Continuing the trend of today, I still think AI hasn't got the grip of what it could do on a phone. The phone, like my phone, contains everything about my life from emails to WhatsApp to photos, whatever. And it would be great. And maybe we're straying into like that movie Her territory, but to have some sort of AI on my phone, which I could ask things about like my life, like what's on my calendar today, and then it could scan my emails and look at my calendar and whatever, and be a general like everything assistant. That would be kind of cool, but maybe we're not there yet. And I think a lot of companies will have to connect with each other to make it truly happen.
Gotcha. Speaking of her, just a very quick story. At some point, I asked ChatGPT, "Can I ask you Dolores?" And you can call me Bernard from Westworld. So from that point, she keeps asking me Bernard, and I'm asking her
Nice.
Dolores.
Love that. Love that. But yeah,
That's a great way of
it'd be great if we could
interaction.
do that. I think we're a few years off though.
Okay. Now, before I let you go, very final question. How can people get in touch with you and get more information about what you do?
Uh, Hit us up on our website. There's our contact details there. You can always chat to me on LinkedIn or drop me an email at andy@favoured.co.uk. I'm always happy to chat to anyone. It doesn't matter if you have an immediate need or you just want advice. We've done hundreds of app launches, run thousands of campaigns, and I think sometimes it's not apparent enough that people are just happy to talk. And I'm always happy to talk to anyone launching an app or whatever. It doesn't matter how early. If you just want advice, I'm here and I've got some knowledge. So who knows? I may be able to help.
Terrific. Andy, thank you so much for coming on our show and sharing your knowledge and experience. It was awesome. Thank you.
That's great. Thanks, Art. Have a great
Bye
day.
bye.
Cheers.
And that was Andy Willers, co founder of Favoured. To listen to more episodes, subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube podcasts. Just search for Business of Apps and you will find us easily. Remember, we release episodes on Mondays. So subscribe and you'll be able to get new episodes on your smartphone, tablet, or computer as soon as we release them. And please don't forget to leave us a review or comment on iTunes. It is highly appreciated. And all episodes will also be available on businessofapps.com. Thank you for listening. See you next week.